Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Su.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about how to put on a simple brand building event. So let me give you an example of a brand building event that we did last year. So this is Neil and I. We did it in downtown Los Angeles, and it was very simple. We did a Q&A event, and it was about 100 or 125 people or so. We had food for everyone, but it was good because we do this podcast all the time. We create a ton of content beyond just doing this podcast, and the next step is to create these in-person relationships. You've created this community, you've given back to people have gotten value from it. How do you take it to the next level? So the next level for us would be always just getting in front of people and getting to meet these person in the flesh, right? So the question is, how do you put on a very simple brand building event? Because basically we spent about $3,000 and the event we spent $3,000. I think we got $2,500 back. So we lost $500. When you're throwing an event, first and foremost, it's okay for you to break even or even lose a little money. And that's why you go for smaller first. I would even say like 100, 125 is a little bigger. So go smaller first and be okay with losing money. That's the first tip.
Yeah. And when you're doing an event, the real key is to have the right audience there. I'm not saying you should be mean and exclude people, but it's more so if you're doing a brand building event. And let's say you're an ad agency and your goal is to get new customers or build your brand within the Fortune 1000 companies. If all the people showing up are brand new entrepreneurs, there's nothing wrong with that, but don't expect to grow your brand with your ideal customer. And I learned this the hard way, in which you look at the big agencies, the WPPs, the Dentsus, the Publicists. Most of those guys don't generate their customers from blogging or content marketing. Instead, they do very focused events. They do very focused networking. And when you're trying to build up a brand, it's not about just doing an event to have the most amount of people. You want to make sure you have the right people, or else there will be no ROI.
You know what's interesting? I was just doing a percentage thing real quick. At 34% of our customers, our clients on the agency side this year, are strictly from networking. And I think that number is just going to get bigger and bigger. So it's interesting that you make that point.
Ours are the other way around. It's not even anywhere near that.
What is it?
It's probably like few percentage points, like 5%.
Guarantee it's going to go up.
I don't think so. I think it's going to actually keep going down.
All right. Well, anyway, so different ways. We can talk about that later. But there's another agency in locally, and I noticed that they actually have started to throw events too. And their simple event is actually kind of what Neil's talking about, where yes, it is more exclusive. They threw it in like a ritzy hotel, and it was only limited to like 100 or 200 people.
Who was it?
They're all executives. I'm not even going to name the name. We'll talk about it offline.
Cool.
But anyway, they did that, and then the tickets were like $500 to $1,000, and then they had people from big companies coming in to speak. And I was looking, I was like, the site's actually well done. This is like an event that I would actually attend, right? So if you want to speak to the people that you're trying to reach, you got to think about, okay, how much are they willing to pay? What kind of people would they be interested in coming to see speak? And then also you put in a nice area, like people like feeling like, oh, it's exclusive, it's a nice area.
War rooms at Montage in Beverly Hills, or they do one in Newport Beach. But yeah, in general, these brand events work. Like Eric mentioned, most companies generate most of their business from networking. Like we have a mutual friend named Warren. He has an agency as well. All of his come from networking, and branded events is a great way to do that. If you're someone who's like leveraged content marketing, or like with us, we just get so many visitors and leads. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And for that reason, for us, we're probably not going to do as many branded events. But it's a great strategy for very targeted customers. And you only want to do this not like if you're, what would you say? You don't want to do this like if you're selling dolls or something that's affordable. I'm making it up.
High ticket.
Yeah, it has to be high ticket, because if it's not high ticket, these branded events will just lose you money. The only time it works is like if you're an Apple or someone like that and you're doing launches during your branded event. It's more so there's all these people filming, they're streaming, live casting, whatever you want to call it. That makes it super effective. But unless you're having those kind of elements like the live streaming, the casting right there, so that way anyone around the world can watch, you're not going to generate all the sales from a branded event.
And look, even if you're starting smaller, you're like, guys, like, look, I'm not gonna get 100 people. I'm just too small right now. I talked about in the past, how do you throw a smaller event like a mastermind, or you can call it a tiny conference where it's anywhere from, 8 to 12 people or so, like-minded people, and you can start off that way. And if you don't have the credibility initially, maybe if you can just get that one star, one person that you think can draw other people in. That's what it's all about. And then you kind of become the star because you're the one that organizes the event. So there's many ways to do it. Don't just think, oh, this doesn't apply to me. But I'm telling you, look, Neil mentioned, or we talked about in the last like couple months, we're going to do this live event once we get to 1 million downloads a month. That's kind of a brand building event. And, there have been people that have indicated to us that would pay, good money to see us throw like an exclusive event. That's something that we may consider in the future. But look, it's because once you start to do the stuff that we're talking about, you start to build a community. You can do stuff like this. You build even more goodwill, and you start to build long-term friendships too. Anything else?
That's it from my end. So we're going to throw an in-person live event. Go to marketingschool.io/stats to see where we're at. Once we hit 1 million listens, we will throw the live event. We're getting closer and closer as time goes on. By you rating, reviewing, subscribing, notifying other people, telling other people about the Marketing School podcast, it'll get us close to that 1 million mark. And once we hit there, and because you helped us out, you'll be able to attend. It'll be an all-day event, free food, free event, amazing networking. We'll learn from you, you'll learn from us, and we'll all have fun.
All right, that's it for today. See you tomorrow.